Thank you for joining us today. My name is Katie Conti, and I work at the Rhode Island Parent Information Network. This is my colleague, Lisa Otone Silva, and today we're going to talk about the difference between IEPs and 504 plans. Lisa, can you talk about some of the ways IEPs and 504 plans differ?
So first, I want to mention that one is not better than the other. They both provide supports to children with disabilities and can meet their needs just in different ways. So the key difference, I think we want to get across is that IEP is specialized instruction and a 504 is access and accommodations.
I agree, Lisa. Another main difference between a 504 plan and an IEP is that they're governed by two different federal laws. Section 504 is a civil rights law that prevents discrimination against people with disabilities, and it's covered under Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973. An IEP, on the other hand, is covered under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, otherwise known as IDEA.
Yeah, good information, Katie. Another difference is the actual purpose of the plans. So the purpose of a 504 plan is to provide FAPE, which is free appropriate public education, to students with disabilities by removing barriers and providing access. And this is done by providing accommodations or related services, again, in order to access their education and prevent discrimination. The purpose of an IEP is sort of like a blueprint that provides a plan with goals and objectives for individualized, specialized instruction to students with disabilities. And again, this is to ensure that they receive their FAPE.
That brings to mind another difference for me, Lisa. IEPs are required to be in writing according to the special education regulations. 504 plans are typically documented. The formats can vary from district to district, and they're actually not required to be in writing. The key is the district needs to show that they're providing access. For example, a student in a wheelchair may only need a ramp in order to have access to their education. The district can show that they're providing access by having the ramp.
Right. Yeah, Katie. And this is sort of the same for parent participation. It is required for IEP meetings. So even though it is not required for 504, it is best practice, and the state of Rhode Island does encourage that.
Thanks for adding that, Lisa. Could you also talk about how schools determine whether the student needs an IEP plan or a 504 plan once they have determined there is a disability?
Sure. So once disability is determined, the next step is to look at how and to what extent the disability impacts the student's learning. So in order to be found eligible for an IEP, the disability must affect the child's educational performance and require specialized instruction in the general ed curriculum. They must also qualify under one or more of the 13 disability categories that are listed in the IDEA. For a 504 plan to qualify, the disability must substantially limit one or more major life activities, such as concentrating or thinking, and the disability must also impact the child's ability to access the general ed curriculum and can require accommodations to remove those barriers.
Thanks, Lisa. My daughter, for example, has auditory processing disorder. This limits her ability to listen and process information in an environment with a lot of background noise, such as a classroom. She has a plan in place with accommodations like preferential seating and an FM system, which enable her to access her education. Some students need an IEP plan outlining their specialized instruction in addition to accommodations. Section 504 is a civil rights law, so protections automatically apply to students with IEPs because it's already been determined that they have a disability. The needed accommodations and related services are just rolled right into the IEP rather than having two separate plans.
So we also have parents ask about differences in the referral and the evaluation processes. So as far as the referral, there really is no difference. Either the parent or school can refer a child for special education services or a 504. As far as evaluations, the district does need parental consent to conduct formal evaluations for either IEPs or 504 purposes. Reevaluation, however, for an IEP, it is required that the district do this at least every 3 years to redetermine eligibility, but it can be done sooner if requested and needed. For a 504, reevaluation should be done periodically or as needed. I do want to add here that the IEP is required to be reviewed annually. For 504 plans, the districts typically review plans annually. However, it is not required. And here I would note that It would be beneficial for parents to request a meeting at the beginning of each school year to meet the new team, ensure the plan is in place, any changes can be made, and everyone's on the same page.
That's a great tip, Lisa. Before we wrap up, I just want to highlight one more difference. IDEA has a formal dispute resolution process that's the same across the state. Each district is required to have a 504 grievance policy or process available to families. However, it can vary from district to district.
Right. So I think, Katie, those are the main points that we wanted to share today. I just want to mention again that one is not better than the other. They both provide supports to children with disabilities and can meet their needs just in different ways. And again, the key difference here is to think of IEP as special education or specialized instruction, and a 504 is general education and access and accommodations. So I think that's all we have. I want to thank everyone for joining us. And for more information on Section 504 or special education, please see our resource page. Thank you.